السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله وكفى ثم الصلاة والسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى وبعد. After giving thanks and praises to Allah, the Most High, and sending peace and salutation to the seal of the messengers Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his family members, his companions, and whoever follow their footsteps to the day of judgment and to proceed. Inshallah, in brief, we are going to review together some of the excuses that permit someone not to fast in the month of Ramadan, and how to make up those days that he missed during the month of Ramadan. And also, in brief, we'll review what is disliked and what is recommended for the fasting person to do. I know most of us have been fasting for the past 10 years, or 5, or maybe 2 years. So we are aware of these things. So it's just going to be a revision, inshallah. There are 7 excuses. There are 7 excuses that permit someone not to fast in the month of Ramadan. Some of these excuses are specifically for women, and others are for both genders. 4 of them are specifically for women, and the 3 are for both genders. So I'd like you to help me to come together to come up with the excuses that permit women not to fast in the month of Ramadan. What is number 1? The menstrual cycle. Beautiful. What's number 2? Now, just for women. The postpartum bleeding. What is number 3? Was your wife pregnant before? Breastfeeding, right? So we know this, right? Number 3 is breastfeeding, and number 4, pregnancy, right? So we have the menstrual cycle, the postpartum bleeding, breastfeeding, and pregnancy. All right. What are the 3 that are for both genders? Traveling, sickness, and the 3rd? Now? No, this is they do not meet the condition of fasting, period. We're talking about those who can fast, who have to fast.
The one that's not of age.
Exactly. An old man and old women. So here we have 7 altogether. Now we are going to analyze these 7 excuses. Beginning with traveling. Our scholars mentioned that any traveling that permits someone to shorten his prayer permits him to break his fasting. So with traveling, it is optional, meaning you have the option of either fasting or breaking your fast. Now the scholars have differences of opinion as to which is better. So what do you think is better? Let's say you are traveling, all right? Is it better for you to break your fast, or is it better for you to fast?
Break it.
It's better to break your fast. Do you all agree with him?
Depends on who you're traveling to.
It depends on what you are traveling to. Yeah, I mean the distance can also determine now. All right. Some of the scholars said there is no preference. There is no preference between them, meaning you have the absolute option of either choosing to fast or choosing not to fast. And they brought the hadith of Anas radiallahu anhu, who said, and this hadith is narrated by Imam al-Tirmidhi in his Sunan, that كنا مع رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم في سفر فلم يعب الصائم على المفطر ولا المفطر على الصائم. They said we were with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam on a journey. Both of us we were fasting. He said some of us were fasting and some of us were not fasting. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not blame those who are fasting on behalf of those who are not, and likewise they did not blame those who are not fasting on behalf of those who are fasting. So meaning he did not say, why are you fasting? To those who are fasting, and why are you not fasting to those who are not fasting? So in this case, it is equal. You have that absolute option. Others said taking the ease is better because of the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ that says that Allah the Almighty loves that we take his rukhsah, meaning the ease that he granted us. Others said fasting is better because of the statement of Allah the Almighty, وَأَن تَصُومُوا خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ. If you fast, it's better. If you fast, it is what? Better for you. The fourth opinion said it depends on the individual. If you think that you can fast along with your traveling without any, excessive tiredness, then the best thing for you is to fast. But if you think that fasting will bring you excessive tiredness while you're fasting, then for you it is better for you not to fast. Because sometimes when you drive, and I remember sometimes I used to drive between Indiana to Philadelphia, and I tried one time to fast, but it wasn't easy because your energy drained out, and you need food in order to have the energy to be able to focus on the road while driving. So in this state, we will say that fasting for you is what? It's like, it is better for you not to fast. So here we have 4 opinions. The first said there is no difference between the two. The second said it's better for you to take the rukhsah. The third said it's better for you to take the firm will and become determined. And the fourth said it depends on the individual, meaning if you know that you can fast along with your traveling, then the best for you to do is what? Is to fast. And if you know that it's going to bring you excessive tiredness, then the best for you is not to fast. All right, with regard to making up his fast, every traveler has to make up the days that he missed while in the month of Ramadan. There is no such thing as ransom for a traveler, because I remember that was yesterday, someone was asking me, he said, "Wow, about the truck drivers? They are on the road most of the time. Can they ransom their day of fasting by feeding the poor?" The answer is no. Why? Because for the traveler, Allah the Almighty has given him the rukhsah of not fasting, not because fasting is harmful to him, but because fasting will bring what? Excessive difficulties on him. So for that individual, his is to make up his days of fasting after Ramadan, but there is no option for him as to feeding or ransoming his day of fasting by feeding the poor. The next is sickness. What is the criteria of knowing the sickness that permits someone not to fast? Because we have different kinds of sickness, from mild to severe. So is there any criteria of knowing the sickness that permits someone not to fast in Ramadan? Some of the scholars said it is general, because Allah the Almighty said, وَمَنْ كَانَ مِنْكُمْ مَرِيضٌ, whoever amongst you is sick, and he did not specify. Our noble scholar Ibn Qudama said it is difficult to determine what type of sickness, because it varies from individual to another. What you can withstand, I may not be able to withstand. So it varies again, like we said about traveling. If you think that it is hard upon you to fast along with traveling, then do not fast. Likewise is a sickness. However, sickness may differ. Because sometimes some sickness, when you fast, that sickness will aggravate fasting will aggravate the sickness. So if doctors assured you that fasting will aggravate your sickness, then in this case, it is impermissible for you to fast. Why? Because He the Most High said, وَلَا تُلْقُوا بِأَيْدِيكُمْ إِلَى التَّهْلُكَةِ. Do not put yourself into something that will bring destruction to you. And also, the general principle in fiqh that says, دَرْءُ الْمَفَاسِدِ مُقَدَّمٌ عَلَى جَلْبِ الْمَصَالِحِ. Pushing away harm must always be put forward before bringing in benefits. So you are not supposed to harm yourself just because you wanna fast. So again, if doctors assure to you that fasting will harm you, then fasting in your case is forbidden. Our scholars also divided sickness into two when it comes to making up your fasting. They said there is a sickness that we hope that it can be healed, which is a temporary sickness, like someone who has headache or belly ache and stuff like this. Maybe it's gonna last for a day or two and you'll come back to normal. But there are others who are suffering from terminal illness. For those who are suffering from terminal illness, they don't have to make up the days that they missed off fasting. What is upon them to do is to ransom their day of fasting by feeding a poor man. But as for those whose sickness is temporarily, then they have to make up the days of fasting that they missed in the month of Ramadan. Now I'm going to move to the old men and old women. Of course, old men and old women, the reason why they are excused from fasting is because they are not able to do it. Therefore, walaikum salam. Therefore, theirs is to make up their days of fasting by feeding a poor. They don't have to make up any day of fasting, but they just have to ransom their day of fasting by feeding a poor man. Now the next is the pregnant woman. The pregnant woman. I know there are some pregnant women who fast, and they said they are able to do so. But our scholars said if you are pregnant, the reason why you are excused is not just because of you. It's also because of the baby in your belly. So here, there is a fear that the fetus in your stomach may be harmed. And this is something that is proven by the doctors that if a pregnant woman did not eat well, the baby in her belly may be deficient in calories, and that may lead to premature baby. So there is a possibility that the fetus in her belly may be harmed. So for the pregnant woman, it is disliked for her to fast. But if the doctors assure to her that fasting will harm her or her baby, then it is haram for her to fast. However, if she fasted, her fasting is accepted. And she doesn't have to make up those days that she fasts during Ramadan. Now the differences between the scholars is as to whether she can ransom her day of fasting by feeding the poor, or she has to make up her day of the days that she missed in Ramadan. Majority of the scholars are on the opinion that the fasting person the pregnant woman should make up the days that she missed during Ramadan, because her state resembles the state of someone whose sickness is temporarily. So after Ramadan, if she's able to make up the days, after she delivered the baby, if she's able to make up that days, then she has to make up those days. Some of the scholars are also on the opinion that the pregnant woman does not have to make up her days that she missed in Ramadan. What is upon her to do is to ransom her day of fasting by feeding a poor. And this is the opinion from the companions of the Prophet, is Abdullah ibn Umar, and likewise Abdullah ibn Abbas. These two companions of the Prophet ﷺ are on the opinion that the pregnant woman does not have to make up the days that she fasts. Hers is to ransom her day of fasting. Our noble scholar Sheikh al-Albani supported this opinion and said the pregnant woman does not have to fast. But let us analyze the state and the condition of the pregnant woman, right? Our noble scholar Ibn Uthaymin mentioned in Al-Mughni, in Sharh al-Mumta, he mentioned that the pregnant woman has the alleviation to not fast in her first stage of pregnancy or the last stage of her pregnancy. And likewise, she has the alleviation not to fast in her first stage of breastfeeding till the last day of her breastfeeding. So let's say she missed a whole year of fasting, and then she missed another year of fasting for breastfeeding. And if she determined to breastfeed for 2 years, then she's going to miss what? Another year of fasting. And let's say she gets pregnant again, which is, sometimes it happens, then she's going to need another year of what? fasting. And then she has to breastfeed again. That's about 5 years of fasting that she missed. Are we going to say that it's a must upon her to make up these 5 years of fasting? Huh? So don't you think that the pregnant woman resembles al-maridu alladhi la yurja bur'uhu, meaning the sick person whose sickness is not what? Hope to be cured. Because there are women who get pregnant after every other what? Year. Right? So in a situation like this, to be fair is to incline to the opinion of Abdullah ibn Abbas and Abdullah ibn Omar, which is the pregnant woman has to make up, has to ransom her day of fasting by feeding a poor. And I personally incline to this opinion, because our noble scholar Ibn Taymiyyah, he mentioned in Sharh al-Mumta that a woman who is on her menstrual cycle is commanded to make up her fasting, right? But she's commanded not to make up her salah. He said the wisdom behind it is because she's missing maybe because the average woman, her menses last for maybe 5 days, right? 6 days, right? So she's missing just 6 days of Ramadan. But she's going to mix 5 times, 5 daily prayers each day, times 6. It's about 30 days of prayer. It's going to be too much on her. So it's not going to be a burden on her. So now, if you multiply 30 days or 29 days of fasting that a pregnant woman or the breastfeeding woman will miss by 5 years, that's going to be about 150 days of fasting. If she chooses not to fast, because again, like we said, Islam has given her that alleviation. So this is going to be very difficult on her. This is the reason why Islam gave her the alleviation of choosing to fast. Another opinion said the pregnant woman has the absolute option of choosing to make up her days of fasting or choosing to ransom those days of fasting by feeding a poor. I would say, since this is something that the scholars have differences of opinion, even the companions of the Prophet ﷺ, whichever the pregnant woman feel is easy upon her, she should go by it. Wallahu a'lam. Na'am.
My question is, I'm not sure of the hadith, but someone was speaking about when the pregnant woman can't fast and that the wali of the child is to pay on the ransom on the child. Are you familiar with that hadith?
I have never come across a hadith that says this, however, if your wife cannot fast, since she is under your care, then you feed on behalf of her. But if she chooses to feed because she has the money, that is okay. But if she cannot, then it is upon you to ransom the days of fasting on her behalf now.
So the days that she missed, right? The people that she had to feed, she could feed them at once, or she had to feed them different days?
A good question. He's asking, can she feed just one time, or she has to feed at different days? Quran said, just feed, ransom your day of fasting by feeding a poor. Quran did not determine what is going to be 30 days, what is going to be the same person that you feed for 30 meals, or 30 people with 30 meals. It did not determine. So however you do it, it's going to go accepted. Our noble scholar Ibn Taymiyyah mentioned in Majalis Shahr Ramadan, he said Abdullah ibn, I believe it's Abdullah ibn Anas, it's Anas ibn Malik, when he was not able to fast, he was too old, he would bring 30 poor people at the end of Ramadan and he will feed all of them at once. So you can bring 30 poor people and feed them at once, or you can assign one poor person and feed him, 30 separate meals. Or you can bring 10 people and feed them 3 separate meals. Nah.
I have a question. As far as I've heard different things in the past, but just to refresh me and give me some feedback. As far as the degree of how do we gauge, especially here where we live, how a person being poor, how should we go about, making it so that we make sure our fidya is given to the right category of person?
Our scholars mentioned that the one whose expenses, meaning is more than his income. Okay, so when you spend more than what you make, then you are poor. You understand? So let's say somebody makes about $1,500 a month, but his rent is $800. His light bill is this. His light. I mean, at the end, he's not able to cover this thing. So this is considered a poor person. Yeah, he falls under the categories of the poor now.
Like a person that's receiving like assistance, government assistance and stuff like that. Like someone like that.
Yeah, whoever situation is like this deserve to receive what? Zakat or any charity. Now, whoever does not make enough to cover his monthly bills deserve to receive sadaqah. Now,
elaborate on that. If physically she can't make up a day, just going to the car, but you can't even make up a salat, would be good advice for her to make
can't make up a salat?
Yeah, make it 5 years.
No, salat, there is no way you cannot make up the salat.
Not even.
No, listen. The pregnant woman has to make salat. She just cannot fast, but she has to make salat. Yeah. I mean, his question is if she's not able to make up the fast. The menstrual woman is the one who does not have to pray, but the pregnant woman has to pray. Now. With regard to the menstrual woman in the postpartum bleeding, them fasting in their right is forbidden. So even if they fast, they will be sinning for fasting. I hope this is clear. Now, so in brief, these are the 7 categories. Now let's talk about things that are disliked for the fasting person to do, and we're just going to mention about 3 or 4 of them. Number 1, our noble scholar Imam al-Khiraki mentioned in his book Zad al-Mustaqna. He said, "Yukrahu jam'u riqihi fayabtari'uhu," meaning it is disliked for the fasting person to accumulate saliva in his mouth and then swallow it. Okay? The norm is that if you are fasting, you are dehydrated, right? So usually, if you are dehydrated, saliva does not accumulate in your mouth. So if this happened, then maybe you are sick. And some of the scholars said, if you accumulate saliva in your mouth and swallow it, it is not disliked, and it will not nullify your fasting. And our noble scholar Ibn Uthaymeen is on this opinion. He said the reason being is because before you can say something is disliked in the religion, there has to be a clear proof. Because saying something is mandatory or haram or recommended or disliked, these are ahkam. And this ahkam has to be supported by a proof. And there is no clear proof in the Quran or Sunnah that says that accumulating saliva in your mouth and swallowing it will nullify your fasting or is disliked. There's no proof that says that. However, we will advise not to do so. Is that clear? So it is neither disliked and it does not nullify your fasting. The second thing he mentioned, he said, وَيَحْرُمُ بَلْعُ النُّخَامَةِ. He said it is forbidden for the fasting person to swallow mucus. You know, sometimes it happens, maybe the person is in the salad and it comes to his mouth and he cannot spit it out, then he swallow it again. He said if you are fasting, you should not do that. So if you swallow your mucus, the author said it is haram, which means if you do that, you are sinning. Why do you think the author said that it is haram to swallow your mucus? Whether you are fasting or not, it is haram to swallow your mucus. Why?
Because it can cause harm to you.
Because it can cause harm to you. Our noble scholar Ibn Uthaymeen said mucus and phlegm that come out of our body, we are releasing what? Sickness out of our body. So swallowing it back into our body is harming ourselves. And the principle is known. I mean, the ayah, that's the wala tulku bi aydikum ila tahluka. So number one, it is haram to swallow mucus. However, does it nullify our fast? Yes or no? All right, we all agree that if you swallow saliva, it will not nullify your fast, right? How about mucus?
You break your fast.
You break your fast. This is what some of the scholars said. Our noble scholar Ibn Uthaymeen said the correct opinion is that mucus will not break your fast. Others said it will break your fast if the mucus reaches your mouth and then you swallow it back. But if it is in your throat, in the manner that it did not reach your mouth, because sometimes you try to bring it out and it just stuck in there and then it went back in. He said this will not. But if it come out to your mouth and then you swallow it again, then it will nullify your fasting. But the whole point here is that since it is haram for us to swallow our mucus, then do not do it whether you are fasting or not. Another issue here is sometimes you may bite your tongue and it will be bleeding, right? And this blood will mix with your saliva and it may accumulate in your mouth. If you swallow it, will this nullify your fasting or not? Is blood considered food?
No.
Sure?
Oh,
Not considered food.
yeah.
Blood is considered
It
food.
has nutrients.
Blood is considered what? But you know some people eat
Actually,
blood.
Blood is not food.
Some people eat blood.
You mean drink blood?
They drink blood, they eat blood. Yeah. Why did Allah the Almighty say Awdam al-A masfuha? They used to eat blood, right?
Let's ask water.
Yes. And number one, we are commanded not to what? Not to eat blood, right? The blood that we are commanded not to eat is the gushing blood, not any blood. I hope this is clear. Our noble scholar Ibn Uthaymeen, he used this verse as a proof to say that it is haram for us to swallow our blood. He said, حُرِّمَ عَلَيْكُمُ الْمَيْتَةُ وَالدَّمُ. The dead animals are forbidden for you to eat, and likewise blood is forbidden for you to eat. But the blood that is forbidden for us to eat from the animals is not any blood, but the gushing blood. I see the Most High mentioned in Surah Al-An'am, Awdaman Masfuha, or the gushing blood. And what they used to do is when you slaughter an animal, they will bring a bowl, and the blood that gushes forth the first time they slaughter, they accumulate that blood, and they use it to, cook a meal with it. Okay, so Allah the Almighty forbade them from eating that blood. But any blood that comes, let's say you are cutting the meat. Sometimes you cut the meat, you see blood, right? Is that blood haram? No.
Like a rare steak or something.
Yes, like steak. You cut it and you see blood. This blood is not haram. So it's not the blood that is referred to here. But in general, like we said, swallowing the blood of human being is something that is haram. So Ibn Uthaymeen said, for the fasting person, be mindful of the blood that comes out of your gums. Sometimes if you have gum problem and it's bleeding, be mindful not to swallow those blood. Or if you are injured and blood is coming out of your tongue, make sure you rinse them out and do not swallow them, because these things may, number one, swallowing is haram, and he's on the opinion that if you swallow blood, your fasting is nullified. So here we mentioned three things. Saliva, it does not nullify your blood, and it is not disliked, but it's preferred for you not to swallow it. It's not haram. Mucus is haram to swallow it because it is harmful. However, it does not nullify your fasting. Blood is haram and it nullifies your fasting. So let us be mindful of these things. Yes.
Now my question is pertaining to the blood situation. You said what's wrong with blood.
Yeah.
Now, say you go to the dentist
Yeah.
and they do your teeth, right?
Uh-huh.
And then you always accumulate blood in your mouth.
Yeah.
And it don't clog up for maybe like about 2 hours, 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, if it's haram to swallow it, therefore you have to repent for that when you
Yeah, don't swallow it, spit it out.
See, if you can't help it.
You cannot help, listen, whatever you could not help swallowing, let's say even the saliva in our mouth, there is regular saliva in our mouth that we swallow, but accumulating it is the point that we have to focus on. So when it's something that you cannot control, it's nothing wrong, but if it's accumulated in your mouth, you spit it out. You spit it out. But if it is like a small, if it's a small blood that's mixed with small saliva, yeah.
When you get that, like your mouth is numb. And you ain't supposed to spit anyway until your blood clot heal up. You're supposed to keep it in your mouth, and then blood going to accumulate because it's got to make the blood clot going to stop. So if you going to swallow something, don't know it because your mouth might be all numb.
Yeah, your mouth is
My person use that, if that's the case, as you explaining it, when you have to or you get the rooks up, not have to do it because of the situation of you getting your tooth pulled and the blood going in your mouth. Unintentionally, you swallow like unintentionally.
Anything you do unintentionally will not harm. You understand? Anything that you do unintentionally will not harm because you did not swallow it intentionally.
Right.
You understand that
Right.
point? That will not harm. No. All right. I think we will start here, and I have to get going now. What if somebody get?
What if somebody didn't know that they can't swallow the saliva?
Oh, I mean, you can. Your saliva is preferable not to swallow it, but if you swallow it, it's okay. I hope this is clear. And we're talking about accumulating saliva, not like the regular saliva in our mouth. If you don't know, that's okay. But if you do, then it's better for you to spit it out. جزاكم الله خيرا وصلى اللهم على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. السلام عليكم.